Welcome back to Crackling Rosie True Crime. Thank you for joining me today. So let's see, I am working with some different scenes, so I thought that I would go ahead and give you another view. Maybe you can drop in your comments what looks nicest on your side, on your TV or your iPhone. Let's transition here smoothly. There we go. Here's another. Hope you like that. I like the colors in that. All right. So this channel is a relatively new channel. Actually, it's an old repurposed channel. So I've been a part of the true crime community for quite some time now, behind the scenes, and I just thought there's a lot of drama going on in our YouTube true crime community. Thought it would be really fun to see about getting a small study group together and just really deep diving and studying cases. I think that's what we all want. The drama is just that. It's drama. It's pointless. It serves no purpose. So those of you who've been joining me, we put out also a little bit of a premiere video talking about what cases I'm personally studying and what I'd like to bring to the channel. Of course, what's most important to me is what interests you. I have been very knee-deep in, well, I'm taking a break from Watts, but that doesn't mean that we won't cover Watts on the channel. I've just been taking a personal break since I've been studying this case for so long. There's a lot of case details that I'm very familiar with, and there's a lot of videos already out on YouTube. So you can definitely comment on this video or reach me directly and let me know what aspects of the case you want to cover. So I've covered this in other videos. I'm not really interested in regurgitating all the information that's out there. I prefer to pick very specific topics of the Watts case and then bring it to you either in a premiere or a live. This way it could be good, original content, and we could have a nice discussion. But yeah, that's one of the big cases that I've been involved in. One of the other huge cases that I've been involved in is the Son of Sam, or more modernly known as the Sons of Sam, the Sons of Sam cult. And that case is so interesting, differs so much from the original case narrative, and there's a lot to be explored and a lot that we are exploring here at Crackling Rosie True Crime. So again, thanks for joining me. I'm so excited. Covering a little bit of the Lee Wuornos case, the Damsel of Death. I'm in the area and I thought that would be a great case to cover because I could actually go live to some of the locations and share that footage with you. There's some content creators doing that already, not on this case, but on other cases. And the YouTube true crime community is very receptive. There's something to be said about going to a location and, providing footage and with commentary, and it really brings you into the scene so you can really feel it more. Other cases, of course, that we're working on, but we'll focus on these today. So, okay. Let's start. I'm going to go down here. I've got a nice little wall that I made, and we'll start with a little bit of David Berkowitz and Dr. Abrahamsen. So on a previous video, I shared with you some letters that David Berkowitz had written to Dr. Abrahamsen. He was a forensic psychoanalyst and was appointed by the Brooklyn DA's office to evaluate Berkowitz upon his arrest to basically see if he was mentally fit to stand trial. Welcome back to Crackling Rosie True Crime. Today we will be talking about Dr. David Abrahamsen. All right, so I'm going to be muting my mic here. This is a very short video. It's just about 8 or 9 minutes. I'm going to play it for you in case you haven't had a chance to already watch it. And this will at least explain who I'm talking about, Dr. Abrahamsen and David Berkowitz. Again, if you're not familiar with the Son of Sam, I do have some videos in a nice playlist for you, some which I've created with some basic case knowledge and other links that I just think are interesting, like interviews with David Berkowitz from prison and that sort of thing. So after this live, check out the playlist. I'm going to mute now and go back to the video. Who he was and what involvement he had in the Son of Sam case in the 1970s. I'll also be sharing with you some archived letters written by David Berkowitz to Dr. Abrahamsen just 2 short years after his arrest. Grab a drink and let's go. Dr. David Abrahamsen was a forensic psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who was drawn into the Son of Sam case in 1977, retained by the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office to help determine whether Berkowitz was mentally fit for trial. Dr. Abrahamsen examined Berkowitz and concluded that while he was mentally disturbed, he was nevertheless competent to face a jury. There was no thought disorder, no insanity, no deterioration of judgment, Dr. Abrahamsen said at the time. Rather, he argued, Berkowitz manifested a psychopathic personality. The court agreed, but no trial took place because Berkowitz pleaded guilty to murder and was sent to Attica to serve a series of life terms. Behind bars, Berkowitz continued to communicate with Dr. Abrahamsen. A result was Dr. Abrahamsen's biography of Berkowitz called Confessions of Son of Sam, Columbia University, 1985, in which he described the complex of emotions and delusions that motivated Berkowitz. Dr. Abrahamsen found Berkowitz to be obsessed with death, fantasizing that he had been ordered to kill by demons that spoke through the voices of barking dogs, and gripped with the belief that killing young women would spare them the suffering they would otherwise experience if they learned, as Berkowitz had, that they had been born out of wedlock. So these letters come to us from the archives from Columbia University, and they're not all complete, but I took what I could, and I suppose you could make an appointment to go and get more, but I'm not in that area. So if I'm ever in the area, I certainly will do that. But for now, we'll work with what I have. It's not dated. The dream about my mother was untrue. I made it up. However, I do have a fantasy about digging up a young girl's grave. I really do have this desire, but I don't understand why. In the service, the drugs I used were speed in pill form, diet pills really, barbiturates, also called downers. These were sleeping pills mostly. I smoked pot, and I used some LSD, and what I was told was mescaline. I never used these hallucinatory drugs as such as I said I did. In Kings County, under questioning, I often exaggerated things to make myself look more crazy. I used LSD no more than 5 times, and these were half doses. I did hallucinate with these, but I never had a bad trip, and I didn't lose very much grip with reality. Kleinman's work. From what I've heard, my mother told me that he was respected in the community and that he owned some real estate. He owned property somewhere. Anyhow, he was good with his hands. He made Betty all types of things, and he redecorated her kitchen and made her shelves. However, I don't know exactly what he did. So for those of you who don't know who he's referring to, Joseph Kleinman was his biological father. And you can go back to my original video, part 1, the early days on the Son of Sam, and it will go deeper into that. But basically, his bio dad was having an affair with his biological mom, who was Betty Falco. He had a full family with children, and Betty was still married to her husband, but he at that point had split the scene, and she was having this very long ongoing affair with Mr. Kleinman. So that's who he's referring to, his biological dad. Okay, back to the letter. Again, this is highlighted with regards to the Moskowitz shooting. I wrote you a letter the other day describing that one. Now I will tell you about the first one, Donna Loria. I saw her and another girl sitting in a blue Oldsmobile Cutlass as I drove past. I parked about 2 very short blocks away on a side street. Coincidentally, there was both girls sitting there. Coincidentally, there was a space available. I left my car, walking in the direction of the parked car. I saw both girls sitting there, apparently talking. I circled the car at a distance, like an animal stalking its prey. Cautiously, I was watching for movement from other people in the street. However, there was none. Then from behind and on the sidewalk, I approached the car, took my revolver out of a paper bag, and stopped parallel to their vehicle. I faced Donna, aimed my gun in the general direction, and fired all 5 rounds very rapidly. I saw the glass breaking into small slivers. The horn started sounding loudly, and then I then ran full speed in the direction of my car. I stopped running within 50 feet of the car, then started walking briskly to it. I got in, then drove off. I aroused no attention. I didn't know I had killed her until I read the post the following afternoon. The shooting took place about 1 a.m. I went straight home and went to bed. I got up early the next day to go to work promptly at 6:45 a.m. That day, I made out better than usual in both tips and fares. I made it my point to go to work so I wouldn't arouse any suspicion. But who would have suspected me anyhow? I didn't know the victims. I will give you complete details of the other shootings in another letter. Thank you very much for the stamps. If you have any questions with regards to the Good Housekeeping article, please send the study, please send the story with your questions so I could answer them better. Yours truly, David Berkowitz. P.S. If you are going to mention the victims in your letters, I have to insist that you spell their names correctly. Let's jump into Watts for just a few minutes. I haven't put much on video in my series yet, but as I said, I've studied this case on a very deep level, and there's a lot of controversy with this case, as there are with high-profile cases. But I'd like to share with you a short video that I put together regarding the mistress, Nicole Kessinger. Right. So if you're on that side of the fence, if you're familiar with the Chris Watts case, there are a couple of fences, and one is that the mistress was involved in this horrific crime. So I'm not going to get too much into opinions. I just wanted to share that with you. And as it says in the video, if you have interest, I'd love to do a live. Maybe we could do a little roast, a little NK roast. But we are respectful on this channel, and we are very clear as to what is speculation and what is fact. But if you want to go through some of that information, the phone pings, anything like that, just drop it in comments and we'll set up the live. All right, we're going to move on from there because I really committed to taking a little break from the Watts case. All right. So if you like what I do, here's a little way that if you'd like, you can send a little thank you. It's just on the Buy Me a Coffee platform, and I'm in there as a movement artist, so we won't get into that today, but that's my link, and you can treat me to a coffee if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to say thank you, we're not a monetized channel at this point, so it's just a nice little way to say thank you if you care to. But remember, just subscribing, listening, tuning in, sharing, that's very important to me, and I appreciate that. Bye, everybody. We're going to see you soon. I'll give you a proper outro.